Well, the green room was so darn interesting that we almost never did the show today. So we now that we've discussed everything that we're going to discuss, we can go ahead. I have with me today a very special guest, special in many, many ways because, well, for once, I mean, I'm sorry, he is right. He hit the ball out of the park over the entire the decks. It went out onto the street, and there was people out there trying to chase it down so they could get a signature. So tell the folks, or should I tell? Who's going to tell them what you got right? Nicholas
Oh, that's
Gibbs.
that's
That's who
fine.
he is, by the way, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no problem telling them where I was right and you were wrong, Randy. And it's not for once. I'm still waiting for this recession we're supposed to have, all these bad GDPs you were talking about that were going to happen. So I'm still waiting on those. I'm still waiting on those.
I didn't know
Um,
I didn't know we were on different pages on that. I thought you thought we were probably in a recession also.
no, 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 no.
No, no, no.
I have said that I think that we have been going through the Cathy Woods recession. You
Oh,
said that
rolling,
you
rolling.
thought we would have it with the, and you had your logic was sound. I will say, when you said it, I was like, all right, well, that's a very valid point. But my unagi told me we probably weren't going to have it. Anyways, where was I right again? And you missed the boat. Well, this is interest rates. It's been a week now,
Yeah.
and we did not get the 25 base point cut that you said. We got the 50 base point cut that I said. But what I'm more proud of, because that was given, what I'm more proud of
Oh, but I
was
like
last week.
I like the fact that you've been predicting a big interest rate cut on the first round for like 6 months.
That's true.
That's
That
true.
is true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, yeah.
But even that, I think that was obvious. Even though no one else is saying that, I do think that one was obvious. What I would say even more so that I'm proud of was that I said how the stock was going to move right when it released. I said how it was going to move right when Jerome Powell started speaking. I said how it was going to move when he stopped speaking. And I said how it would move the very next day. Check, check, check,
Check,
check.
check.
All of those. Just
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Just saying. I
There
may be
you
a
go.
monkey throwing darts, but somehow keep hitting bullseye. Uh, but yeah, no, all jokes aside, yeah, this is wonderful. This is
Yeah, yeah.
it's nice to be on the other side of rate increases, huh?
That's right. That's right. Now we've got the first one in the bag, so go ahead. A broken clock is right twice a day, so you have to, take another shot here. What happens in November? A lot of people are talking another 50.
Well, actually, that is what the predictions are saying. I don't think so. I think
Okay.
we get 25.
Okay. Good for
Just
you.
call me contrarian.
Yeah, 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 I know. Me too. Yes.
25 and 25 is what's going to happen
25 and 25 the rest of the year. And
as
then
of today.
another 100 basis points for 6 months and extra. I mean, just kind of
Yeah, I can't see that far out.
okay.
I think it's too many variables in that. We don't know who the next president's going to be, which honestly, largely, I don't think matters in the long run. As far as the stock market goes, I do think it matters in the short run, though. So we'll see. But there's just too much uncertainty that far out. What I do know though is the QE announced today by China bodes well for Tesla. That's something we didn't talk about in the green room.
No,
Um,
we did not talk about that, but I had it on the list for today. That's quite a deal. Did you see what the details were?
I saw some of it this morning. I got up. I just couldn't. I don't know what it is lately. I just haven't been able to sleep. So, like I normally
Stock's
get up at
going
five
up.
thirty in the morning. Yeah,
Tesla's
yeah.
going up. It
You,
just
you know what? I swear to you, I. I've been in the stock market since I was 15 years old when I
right,
got into it,
right.
and it's just getting worse. Like I I don't enjoy weekends as much because the stock market's closed, but I love weekends because I will actually sleep. I
Yeah.
get too excited. I get too excited about the stock market opening. I just get way too excited. Um, so I don't know.
I was thinking about it. I
It's
was
an
thinking
addiction.
about it. I was thinking about it this morning. I've been doing this my entire life, starting at about age 7, I think, when baseball cards became a very important part of my life and baseball stats. my dad wanted the front page, my mom wanted the home section, my little brother wanted the comics, and I wanted the sports section so I could do the stats. And so I was learning to divide and figure out percentages before third grade because I needed to be able to do the analysis. So the numbers have always been what's the first thing I do in the morning is check the numbers.
Man, if you like stats, you should definitely be playing more with options, Randy.
I did. I told you.
No, I mean more. Well, you're
Yeah,
buying. Buying's a gamble. That's not where it's at.
yeah. I know
But that's
you're
another conversation.
too
Um,
much detail for me. All right. Anyway, let's get back on
but
track. So we got the
China.
Chinese. They did interest rate cut. So there was a bunch of headlines on this. Half of them said, and I mean literally, there was like four of them said it was a bazooka of a stimulus, and half of them said it wasn't quite a bazooka. So, you had to read all of them to find out what was really going on. But I would call it, like at least some heavy guns. You got an interest rate cut, you got mortgage rebalancing, and that's a huge thing. And then you got 500 billion won or something like that. I don't know who can keep track of the zeros when you're talking about the won, but a huge amount of money set aside to invest in the stock market
Stock market.
in
Yep.
order to bolster the stock market, which worked. Okay. So those were the three main pillars of this decision. And, that's a big deal.
Yeah. So going back to my story. So like I normally wake up at 5:30, but today I couldn't sleep. So I tossed around like from 4 to 4:15. I was like, screw it, I'm getting up. So at 4:30, maybe like 4:45, this comes on CNBC. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like, this is insane. Like it was just like dropped in our laps like it was
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a good sign. I don't know if it's gonna work, but
Right.
man, it bodes well for Tesla. I can
Yeah.
tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's good.
So
Good news for, although one of my questions I actually was asking, was that on the show this morning or was I just writing it down for later is where's Tesla going to get the cars they're going to need for China and for the export markets out of China? I mean, they are maxed out. So if China reincorporates, allows, I'm sorry, the actual use of FSD, that's going to increase the number of car sales in China. You've got the stimulus that you just talked about that's going to increase the car sales in China. You got the newer vehicles that are coming out next year. I mean, all these things are going to be stimulus for China, and that's the one factory that's maxed.
I don't think we need to worry about that.
Okay, you think we'll figure it out?
I'd be happy to have that problem again.
That's the problem everybody always wants to have is too many sales, not enough product. Okay, all right. Okay.
I miss those days. Those were wonderful days. Uh, but yeah, no, Randy, like green room. I'm I'm I think it was on Herbert's. Every Wednesday, Herbert and Brian from Futuraza and Herbert from Brighter with Herbert. We do a show every Wednesday. So tomorrow, actually. And I've been saying on there that I think Tesla 300 by Halloween.
Right.
And I know you've been saying 265 by 1010.
Right.
But, with this, like between this China stimulus, which may seem nothing on the surface
Oh, it's
now, and everything is happening next week, followed by what's happening the following week. Whew, listen, if we get a good delivery number on Wednesday next week,
Tuesday, I think. Right?
Tuesday,
Maybe
I think Tuesday.
I thought the first is on Monday, but I could be wrong.
It would be on the second, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so that's Tuesday, right?
It's Wednesday.
Oh, it is Wednesday. Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, now that I think it through, you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
The 10th is on
Sorry.
Thursday, then subtract 7. Anyway, go ahead.
I know. 1 + 1 gets me all the time too. Carry the one. Yeah. So if we get a good delivery number on Wednesday,
Yeah.
that means to me that we're gonna have 1010. Let's say 1010 is just mediocre, but it's like, oh, okay, this is interesting, and they give us
Right.
some kind of
Right.
guidance timeline. My opinion, there will be no sell the news because anchoring 1010 will be 1016, which is earnings.
Is it,
Because
we don't know that yet, but 16 or 23 or something like that. It hasn't been announced, right?
um
It was announced? I thought they usually announced it with the numbers.
my platform seems to be estimating October 16th.
Estimating. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that would be
So, anyways,
an early earnings call. So that'd be interesting. Okay.
by the way, we have earnings that'll be anchoring the stock up. So, really, man, we could make a run here, Randy. We could finally get back into that 3 handle when I really think we should probably be even higher than that. If you just look at the future, but yeah, I mean, I can't stop thinking about it. It's like this is just wild, I mean,
Exciting
where are
time.
you at? Well,
Well,
not just that, and that's without even the what could actually come out in 1010.
of
Like,
course.
imagine if they overperform,
Yeah.
outperform,
Yeah. Well, if they
have a
outperform,
oh my god, one more thing moment.
right. Yeah. No, of course, everybody's expecting something really important on 1010, but it's got to be something the street understands. But people forget, and I know I've repeated this so many times on my channel, people are probably like tired of it. But even when the stock goes down the next day, it's almost always higher a week later. Almost always higher a week later. It just takes the street a little while sometimes to figure out what happened. And that could happen this time too. But I don't usually on reveals. Larry confirmed this on Monday. On reveals, if the reveal's any good, it usually goes up the next day. Yeah. So anyway,
Yep.
who knows what'll happen, but it's going to be exciting, as you point out, this Monday morning or this weekend problem where you're like, oh no, not a weekend.
Well, hey, you know what? I can live with the weekend if I get my tickets to the RoboTaxi event.
No, no tickets aren't out yet. So, all right. So Gary Black, of course, he said we've turned the corner, and he's talking about it from the Wall Street analyst position. AJ says that we're on the way. I've got a program coming up on Friday, probably with Brian Wong. He's gonna, of course, he's always even more optimistic than me. He's gonna predict a stock price of about 7,000 by Tuesday. I'm just playing. Anyway, but no, gonna have a very rigorous analysis based on some numbers he's been running for the end of next year, which are maybe as higher than my numbers for the end of next year, which is 700 by the end of next year. So anyway,
100.
I think 700 is doable by the end of next year.
What has to happen for that, in your opinion?
Oh, it's got to be robotaxi's got to be real. It's got to be happening. It's got
Like,
no driver, robotaxis on the road, doing pickups, doing deliveries. Yeah.
like in one city, in volume,
I don't
in
care.
multiples.
Yeah, probably going to be more than one city by that time, I would think. But yeah, it's got to be robust. It's got to be extractable. You got to be able to as Gary Black likes to say, as Gary Black likes to say, it needs to be able to be put on a spreadsheet.
Yeah, I don't know what Gary Black says these days. He blocked me because
Oh no.
I was making too logical sense to him, and he can't deal with that. Yeah. God forbid someone pushes back on his bearish narrative. But hey, you know what? We got rate cuts. We got all-time record deliveries about to happen. So all of a sudden, he's a bull. But
Yeah.
everybody's going to solve FSD at the same time. So it's all good. Don't tell him that, though, or you'll get blocked too.
Is that what you told him? Okay. Yes, I don't think FSD is going to be solved by everybody at one time either. I do think that Waymo has they don't have a cash problem. So if they want to, they can expand this forever without making money. That's their choice. I don't know how much money they are or aren't making, but
I don't know.
And at some point, I've done maybe you have too. I've done a little bit of an analysis in terms of the cost. Like if your cost for the vehicle is 150,000 versus 30,000 or whatever, it matters, but it's not horrible to have that because you're going to run it for 10 years. at 50,000 miles a year or whatever. So it does become kind of small, a pretty small number.
Here's the problem, though, Randy. The second Tesla comes out, it's over. They will like. Why would you ever pay more for a ride
Right.
when you cannot pay more for a ride?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I think it's gonna be scorched earth once Tesla gets going. I do. It makes no sense not to be. It makes zero sense.
Then if you believe that, and if you believe it's in multiple cities, then 700 would be a slam dunk, right?
Well, I'm not saying that it'll be in multiple cities by next year.
Okay.
I don't really know where I think it'll be. I actually offered Matt from Rebellionaire. I offered him a bet, which he avoided responding to. But as far as I'd lost our last bet, so I'm still waiting on my beer from him. He seems to have it at the house, has my address, but hasn't sent it yet. But Matt was saying that he doesn't think we'll have a robotaxi anywhere next year. I'd be willing to take a bet on that. I don't know if I think it'll happen, but I'd be willing to take a bet on it. But anyways, what I was really going to get to is I really do think that the way it's going to work, or the way it should work. Have you read Peter Thiel? Thiel has a book. Essentially, the whole idea is going from 0 to 1. So essentially, when you get into a market, you dominate it. You drop your price. What everyone does, they take they make no profit on it. They do it at cost.
You're not going to
all of the market share.
You're not going to cream it in the beginning. You're going to go and just try to eliminate everybody else.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
So that's what
by doing that, you get dominant market. Well, that's what they should do. Well, it's not what I think they should. It's what they should do.
Yeah. I've always, let's just say that my marketing theory my entire life, and I don't know, brought about 500, 600 great products to market over the last 60 years, is you cream the market in the beginning and then you lower your price as necessary as time goes along. But you can still, and there's also a problem with being all by yourself. It's not always good to be the only person in the market. It's almost always good to have at least one foil, at least one person that you're better than, or, trying to catch. It's good for company morale. It's good for the other guys coming up with ideas, and you have to come up with an idea. And I've just seen so many times in my life where there's a one company in the market and they're doing okay. And then the second company comes in, and then the two of them start the battle royale that really makes the thing go.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd push back on that. Google seems to be doing fine. Microsoft seems to be doing fine. Yeah. Apple seems to be doing fine.
Google has about one competitor.
Really? What other search engine are you talking about?
Bing.
They have like 2% of the market share. That's not a competitor.
Well,
what about YouTube? Who competes against YouTube?
Yeah, I know. Sad thing, isn't it? X is trying. All right, let's talk about another angle here. And that angle is, I know I want to go one more place with you. The thing that nobody's figuring in for next year, which is almost a dead certainty, is about a $500 million savings in labor as Optimus start working in the manufacturing facilities. And two is the $1 billion a quarter coming from IRA money as a result of 4680, not to mention whatever savings come from 4680, period. So those are not even in the mix for people in terms of their analysis for next year.
Yeah, I'll touch on those. IRA will go away after Trump wins, so that's not going to happen. And I think you're too early on the humanoid.
I'm just saying, even if they only have 1,000, it's $500,000. I mean, it's $500 million in savings.
How do you know? How do you know what the productivity is?
Well, okay. That was kind of a low estimate, like 2 shifts, 7 days, that type of thing.
Someone's got to supervise it. Someone's got to maintain it. Yeah.
If it's 3,000, it's even more. And okay, so that's your analysis, and that's good. It gives us something to talk about next year. All right, so
Just remember it, because this time next year I'll be like, hey, Randy,
Yeah, write it down.
remember when I was right again?
So I was really, we're kind of on the same subject here. I was pretty impressed today. I use Google Alerts for a lot of my show work. And so usually when I'm looking up things like Tesla or electric vehicles or something like that, I get like almost 99% negative and maybe one positive. But listen to this on this one Google alert today. These are the headlines. What's next for Tesla's stock price after Monday's 5% surge from Investopedia? Why Tesla pop 5% for today? Tesla stock surges amid buzz over Q3 earnings and robotaxi from Yahoo Finance. Tesla stock rebounds as the robotaxi approaches. Waymo reaches 100,000. Investors Business Daily. Why Tesla stock pop 4% from also Yahoo Finance? Yeah, the Motley Fool. Does anybody actually pay attention to what the
Yeah,
Motley
just
Fool
fools.
says? Anyway, their
People who
headline.
can't think for themselves.
Market Watch says Tesla stock is leading S&P 500 gainers on optimism for the delivery report. I mean, do you remember ever seeing a bunch of headlines that positive on Tesla since maybe, I don't know, early 2021?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Been a while. I do have there's more. Oh my goodness, they just keep going. I do have a very specific question for you. I actually sent it to you this morning so you could be prepped for it because
I
this
don't
is
think
your,
I saw it.
you didn't see
I
it.
mean, I'm not prepared. You know, it's weird. You sent me a message asking if 7 was good today. And like around 1 p.m. today, I think I thumbs up it and it never went through.
Oh,
Because I came onto my computer. I did it from my phone. I came on my computer and it didn't show. I'm
Bill's.
like, oh man, I'm kind of not a nice guy. So I don't know.
All right. Well, I'm sure you'll do just fine without preparation. So I want to know about your thoughts. This is something that came up with these questions like we did last Tuesday.
Hmm.
And as we were doing the questions, this one popped up as kind of a question, but then I started thinking about it more as an entire new division that might be the second biggest division of all the Tesla divisions when it's fully up and running. And that would be the AI division. And right now I'm seeing four products. One would be the sale of the actual Dojo chips, just like competing with NVIDIA. One would be Dojo as a service, which has been talked about. Three would be selling the inference chips that go into the cars and the robots to other robot manufacturers, other car manufacturers. And number four would be the inference data cloud, whatever you want to call it, which has been talked about. So it gives four pretty significant products in the new AI division. What do you think?
You're not gonna like my answer.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
None of that's gonna happen this decade.
This decade. Wow.
I I would put money on this.
Wow. So the one I was the most thinking would have to happen would be the inference chips for the other robotics and car companies. Where are they going to get them? Where are they going to get
Randy,
a chip that's that lightweight or that's lightweight in terms of wattage and that capable?
Randy, do you even see anyone even suggesting that they're willing to talk to Tesla right now about licensing FSD?
Yeah, but what happens after the Optimus is actually out there doing the work and the other guys are going, we can't even begin to compete?
Randy, that's already happened with FSD and nobody's doing anything. They're sitting on their hands. You
Okay.
have Volkswagen wanting to partner with Rivian and avoiding Tesla.
Okay.
Elon has said that we'll help you with the software, the infotainment part of your software. Not even FSD. We'll help you. We'll work with anybody.
Nobody.
No one's contacting them.
Yeah. So
Like
what,
it's
so what
they
about,
would rather die and suffer and be laggards than work with Tesla, because the second they do, they've lost.
I see. They feel like it.
Look how painful it was for everybody just to sign up for the supercharging network.
Just for the network.
And
Yeah.
that's not even really they're not even going to be incorporating the NACS connector until pretty much 2026. All right.
Yeah.
This was announced in 2023.
Right.
About 3 years. Like, Randy, it's not, none of that's, even this, which I agree with you, this would be the most obvious. Someone says, yeah, Tesla will license FSD from you. Tesla says, yep, we'll sell you the hardware at cost, which makes it a not business, by the way. There's no revenue there. Because
not at cost.
Elon said that. He said that on the call.
The party said.
Yeah. So the hardware would be at cost, no big deal. We'll license the software because that's what matters to Tesla. They're not even lining up for that. So it's not happening this decade.
Okay. All right. Okay. But it's a good idea, right?
They're brilliant ideas.
There you go. That's all I wanted to hear.
Yeah. No, they are. And honestly, I think the inference hardware, all that's negligible. Okay. Nobody makes money on hardware. They just don't, unless you're NVIDIA. And they're literally like the only ones. The real business would be renting out. It would be a cloud-like model, a public cloud model for AI training. But again, that's not happening this decade because Tesla needs every single cycle of compute that they can get their hands on right now. Okay. So it's not going to happen because even once we get to FSD, say it's solved enough for robotaxi. Mm-hmm. Well, you're going to have to keep churning it out. You're going to have even more vehicles. You're going to have to do more training. And then we also have the humanoid that has to ramp up. That has to get more training. And as the humanoids go out and the humanoids taking the world, you're going to use vastly more compute to be able to train all that. So not this decade.
Not this decade. Okay. So this is a 2031 project.
This is a 2030 to 2040 project.
Okay, all right. So Elon has been doing the rounds at the UN meeting. He's checked out his old girlfriend over there in Italy, and that they seem to still be, looking at each other lovingly. Had a great conversation with Milei of Argentina. He says that, hey, I'm going to have all of my companies check out the possibilities of doing business in Argentina. Take that, Brazil. And what did you think? What kind of a company should we open in Argentina? Do anything strike you as something?
Batteries. Yeah. Argentina's right there next to Chile. Chile has one of the biggest nickel deposits in the world. Right. Like that whole region between Chile and Argentina, they're just havens for earth
Mm.
minerals that go into making batteries.
Part of the what do you call it? What's the circle of fire, the ring of fire, the ring of fire.
The ring of fire.
The ring of fire. Yes. All right. So you think a battery factory making some 4680s down in Argentina would be a wise. Well, if you're going to make a battery factory, then you might as well put up a mega factory too, right?
Yes, I'd agree. Okay. Mega package is a battery, but yeah.
Okay. But I mean, so making the raw batteries and making the mega factories yeah.
And mining potentially, right? The whole refining. Yeah.
Because they'll already have the refining capability. I'm very excited. I'm so, most people could care less about that refinery down there. I want to know everything about it. I want to know what's special about it. I want to know if it's going to really be less expensive to significantly less expensive, if they can sell it to others, if they have excess, I want to know everything about it.
Again, I don't see that happening either. I think they're going to need every battery that they can get their hands off, especially once they start building out the robotaxis.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Look, making the batteries, not sexy. The lithium refinery, not sexy. I get it. But you know what is sexy? What they mean. Yeah. They mean less middlemen, less third-party margins, means more Tesla margins, means better earnings. Which this is the moat. This is the Tesla moat, is their vertical integration.
Yeah.
Right? This is why nobody else can compete.
Yeah. It's what Gary Black misses, is what I was talking about a minute ago, which is
he misses a lot.
Well, it's that chip. I mean, it's one thing if okay, I can sit here all day long and say, well, if it costs 125,000 for a Waymo car, you just, build that into the 10 years of amortization. But at the other side of that same coin, if your chip is not as efficient and it uses a lot more electricity, et cetera, you are definitely going to have a disadvantage in the real world.
I can't disagree with you.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Although no,
And not on this one. Not on this one.
the disagreements are good. They're yeah.
Can we? I know I'm going all over on you today, but can we go back
Okay.
to a different? So you asked me in the green room what was on my mind. You
Yes.
know what's really on my mind?
What
That
is it something we could do on YouTube?
all right, fine.
Okay.
I can come up with something else. You know what else is on my mind, Randy? And it's actually keeping me up at night. I mean, I guess both thoughts are, but this one more so.
Yeah.
There's so much fear out there right now for 1010. And I'm
Mm.
not talking about from Tesla investors, from everybody else, from Waymo, from Uber, from all these companies. You're all of a sudden seeing all these deals and announcements and oh, look at these metrics I have, front running to everything. You're seeing it across the board. They're paranoid about what's going to happen on 1010. They're scared of what Tesla's going to announce, what they're going to show. Because if it's amazing, they're in trouble and they know it. This is existential for them. It's just hilarious to see this. I don't know if you watched the Waymo co-CEO on the All In podcast
I did.
for the summit. That's the competition, Randy. That's a joke. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She has no idea. She couldn't give a substantive answer. She didn't have. You know what she was? Listen, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying this. Co-CEO. She's clearly the DEI CEO. That's what she was. She couldn't say anything intellectual. She couldn't talk about LiDAR. She couldn't talk the compare contrast versus Tesla's method versus Waymo's method. She couldn't talk about how they're going to scale. She couldn't talk about anything. All she could talk about was safety. We're training one driver. We have X amount of rides. We believe in safety. Like that was it. Oh, I like to see you guys talk. I like how you guys you're answering everything for me, so I don't have to. It's like, what are you doing? Like you're just trying to cop out. That's all you're doing. You're trying to like get your interview time here to burn up so you can get off here. Like she had no answers. And I
Yeah.
decided to go and look at some other interviews of hers.
Mm.
She talks nothing of substance at
Mm.
all.
Mm.
I genuinely don't think she understands what's going on, how it works. It's insane. I mean,
So,
it's
so I saw somebody quoted today or yesterday, and they said, and is this is somebody I respected? I can't remember who it was though. I want to say it might have. Well, anyway, let me
wasn't
not
me.
say this. The comment was that if you have any sense at all, there's a 99% chance that FSD is going to be level 5 within 24 months. I mean,
Oh,
it's
unequivocally.
just so.
Unequivocally.
So if you're talking about the competition, and maybe the competition wants to live, put their head in the sand, but the competition's got to be that way too. So whether the 1010 announcement says we start tomorrow, or whether the 1010 announcement says we will put people, we're going to do supervised drives now, and we'll do level 5 as soon as it's possible. Most people are going to be like, well, that's no more than 2 years away.
Randy,
So they got
you
an
know how
existential problem one way or the other.
you know how you hear like Warren Redlick says this all the time that all these events for Tesla are about recruiting, all that. I like Warren a lot. We agree on a lot, but I don't think unveils are about recruiting.
No.
But I do think 1010 has another motive. It's not for you, Randy. It's not for me. It's not for Wall Street. It's not for Chicago fake bulls like Gary Black. It's not for any of those. It's for the ulterior motive of 1010 is for all of the other automakers to get them to realize
Oh,
it's over. You better license. You better reach out and call tomorrow or you're screwed.
right. Okay.
So, yes, I want to see a great showing. I want to see a beautiful car. I hope there's one more thing. I hope we get out. I hope we get all that stuff. But I think what Tesla really needs to focus on, I think they are focused on this, is to demonstrate to all these other OEMs that they better pick up that phone and start giving a call because you're going to want to be the first one because you're probably going to get the best deal if you're the first one.
Right. Right.
So honestly, if I was Elon, that's exactly what I'd say on the earnings call. I would literally say, it's like if you buy new construction. Before the house is built, yeah, you get a better deal. Once the houses are built, it gets more expensive.
Yeah.
It pays to be early. So we'll leave it at that.
Okay. I'm trying to remember whether this was Brian White or Brian Wong. Because if it's Brian Wong, I might be teasing something that's coming up later this week. But anyway,
Uh-oh.
The FSD in the trucks is probably a bigger deal for many reasons than even the FSD in the cars in terms of the overall impact on the economy, the overall impact on the atmosphere, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a whole nother discussion. But the
Can
reason
you differentiate? Are you saying Cybertruck or semi?
the semi-truck.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Okay. Go on.
So on the semi-truck. And the point here was that because it's a commercial application, once it's available, you have to have it. As a commercial trucker, if you don't have FSD, now you're at a tremendous disadvantage and you're just standing in line waiting to get it. That caused us to start thinking about commercial applications for FSD in cars that might also be forcing. And we started trying to think of the situations like in city delivery, same day deliveries of legal forms or whatever, people that are, shooting across town on bicycles and or in cars with these same day deliveries. We were thinking about contractors that are sending their employees off to Home Depot in order to pick up one bag of screws when they could go on a screen, pick out the bag of screws and have a car bring it to them far cheaper than they could send their person over there to get it. So we were starting to think of all the kinds of possibilities of forced applications for FSD vehicles, which might pop out. And that's the first time I've heard anybody talk about that possibility.
Yeah, that's interesting. I kind of like that last example the most. Like imagine not even that you're the contract, whatever. Imagine you're Home Depot.
Yeah.
And you just fix it into your price.
Yeah.
Like, yep, we do at-home deliveries.
Yeah.
What do you need? Put it on the list. Yep. We'll put it in the robotaxi. It'll arrive.
Yeah. I mean, for the consumer, it might be great. And, but sometimes the consumer wants to go to Home Depot. They want to be able to kind of look around. They're not sure exactly what they want, but the contractor, I mean, I've had a lot of contractors in my home. You have too, I'm sure. And all of a sudden you need to have that one part and you're taking a $25 or $30 an hour guy and sending him off for 2 hours, by the time they drive over, make the decision, get back. So it just occurs to me that would be huge. And the other one we thought of immediately, because I've been there so many times, you're at the tire dealer, and they don't have 4 of the tire you need, and they got to send over to this other guy and pick up a tire and bring it back. So it's the same kind of thing. All of a sudden you have a remote car doing that job. Lots and lots of things. Car parts dealers have that same situation.
Randy, I hope you're not paying contractors your house by the hour. I hope you're telling them, quote me for the job.
Generally. Yes.
Yeah. All right. I was gonna say, like, that's That's not like, we don't work that way. This is not cost plus over here. We're not
Yeah.
the government.
No.
Um, no, I agree with you though. I mean, just all kinds of things, right? I mean, the obvious thing that we think about is shipping, but like imagine, I mean, just think of how, imagine you're in an airport, right? Why do people pick up and drop off? Like, forget that. If I was at the airport, like, instead of having like long term parking and all that, an airport could just have a service that's just robo taxis just to the airport that
Yeah.
comes and goes, no
Yeah.
congestion. Now you don't need those guards out there anymore. That are annoying everybody. Now you don't have those people piling up. You
Yeah.
just have this going. What an experience.
Yeah.
Hey, you could charge for that. Charge a little extra. Or maybe it comes your Delta. It comes with your first class ticket or your air miles that you get a robotaxi comes picks you up, right? I mean, like you're a hotel, a resort. You're in Vegas. Like, oh yeah, we'll pick you up. We'll send the like. Just think about it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And and it could be buses, but it could just be cars because, it'd
no
be so
buses.
expensive. Yeah. Just cars. Yeah.
Even Elon said, I've been saying this. I can't wait to get on with Herbert tomorrow to be like, I told you so. No buses.
No
Buses
buses.
are pointless. They make no sense when you have robo taxis.
All right. Well, we've almost run out of time to talk about the economy, but I think the economy we've
We got
talked
time.
a lot. I think I still believe that we'll have, we'll be in reset. We'll be in this kind of blah thing until around March, and then we're going to go to the moon. The economy will burst forth like a beautiful thing. But you mentioned that we've got a couple of big deals happening. We got PCE this Friday, and then jobs next Friday. So it's going to be, we could have a little, what? Yes.
Can we rewind? You said
Yeah.
until March?
I think that the economy will be sluggish. It'll either be in recession or if it's a soft landing, sluggish until about
Gotcha.
March. Yes. Until the spring. People buy all those big toys, all the boy toys, they buy those in the spring. And then they start doing the home improvements in the spring. That's when everything happens on the durables, and the durables are the thing that has been the most slapped down. So I think when the durables turn the corner, that's when we'll see the economy turn the corner.
What? Hold on. Are you calling this right now sluggish?
Yeah, this is sluggish.
This is sluggish.
This is sluggish. Consumers are out of money. They can't. People under 100,000 in earnings. There was all kinds of reports today on they are out of money. They're not saving. Their credit cards are in trouble. So the people that are under 100,000 in earnings are the what do you call it? The consumer confidence index came out today, worst ever, or since 21. I don't know. It's like a horrible. All of them expecting, the job. They're going to lose their job in the next 6 months. So yeah, I would call it sluggish. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't believe any of those.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I just believe what I see. Like, don't get me wrong. I do think people are strapped.
Yeah.
I do think people are kind of, I mean, not you or I, but I think a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. I think it's tough times out there for sure, without a doubt. But it can't be that bad because I still see those same people out there at restaurants, out there at clubs, out there spending. The malls are still packed. So while I empathize a little bit, I also don't, because I see all these people out there spending like crazy. Meanwhile, I'm over here and I'm still as frugal as you can be. We have our budget. We don't change it. We stick to it. But I see all these people spending like it's nothing. I mean, even friends of ours that I know they can't afford to go out. Don't get me wrong. They make a lot of money, but they also spend it all.
Yeah.
So really, they don't make money.
Right.
And so it's like, I see this. I'm like, I don't have empathy for that.
Yeah. So there was the consumer confidence numbers that came out this morning. They did say that people are still willing to travel, still willing to eat out. They're going to spend the money that they need to on doctors, of course. But what they're not spending it on, and I can tell you because I've been in the industry for a very, very long time, they're not spending it on bicycles. And in addition to that, the other durables like refrigerators, putting in a new spa in the backyard, that stuff is dead. DEAD. Transportation, as you know, has been in recession for 2 years. The trucking has been in recession for 2 years. Manufacturing's been in recession for over 2 years. Housing, of course, we know housing's in recession. So there's a big, you talked about the rolling recession. Well, it's half of the economy. And now more than half of the consumers are struggling. And that's why I call it sluggish.
Yeah, I think it's pocketed. It's very nuanced. I think it's extremely pocketed. Um, and this could become a whole philosophical debate. Or maybe philosophical is the wrong word, but it's kind of like one of those things where like well, I guess philosophical. Some people see a glass half full, some people see a glass half empty. They're both right, but you take that, extrapolate it to the economy, and all of a sudden there's like an infinite, it's like a factorial effect of all those. But like, for example, sure, trucking's been in a recession, but that's also helped lowering of inflation. I agree with you. Housing is in a recession, kind of, for realtors,
Yeah.
for buyers,
Builders.
not for the sellers.
Yeah.
But not for the
seller,
sellers.
but the seller's not in the business. So the people that are in business, the people that build the homes, the people that decorate the homes, the people that, they're all suffering because there's not enough transfer of homes.
Depends. High-end homes, not so much. $1 million plus, not so much.
But
Right?
those homes aren't turning as much either. I know this business backwards and forwards. And my number one client, that's what he does. He's in West LA. He's a mortgage lender, $2 million and $2 million and $5 million homes. They're not turning as much. Okay. They're turning, but they're not turning as much. Anyway, what the key here, really the most important part of this is when you're on this edge, when you're on this knife's edge that you just pointed out, half full, half empty, and I'm an optimist. But when you're on that edge, and what they're seeing now is people that are not able to find a job once they're laid off. This is what one of the metrics that's really showing up. At some point, that starts this ratchet, that starts this flywheel. Okay. And sometimes that flywheel gets going and it's really 30, 45 days and you're in the recession. It can happen so fast.
So that we're on the same page. I think the jobs market is worse than what it looks like. I think the jobs market is going to continue to get worse. I don't believe that not even that I don't believe, I just see it in the tech industry. People aren't really hiring right now.
Right.
I see a lot of people being able to interview and companies having a bench, but they're not hiring.
Right.
So it's really interesting. The things have flipped. Now the employers have the upper hand,
right?
Whereas like in 2022, the employees had the upper hand,
right?
So that's very interesting. But I hate to say it's healthy, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I've said it on this channel.
It's a horrible thing to say, but
I know. I've said it before. yes, it's always healthy to have a little, open heart surgery so that you can live another 20 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like nobody, like, you don't want someone to be poor and struggling, right? But if you don't have that bell curve, like listen, somebody's gonna have to get the D or the F. Somebody's gonna get the A plus. Like, it's a distribution. It's going to happen. Like,
what kind of grades? What kind of grades did you get?
So I was a double engineer major.
Yeah.
And I was like in the C minus to B plus range.
Oh,
and I had a couple D for done.
Different.
I have no ego about it.
No, I'm with you, man. I think the most successful people are the B plus people. So, I had a B average in undergrad. I had a B average in high school. I had a B average in undergrad. I had a B average in law school. I barely graduated from law school. I mean, by the skin of my teeth. But yeah, it's B plus. B plus. It's good.
Yeah, where I went to school. So I went to a military academy, and there was none of this where, I can drop this class, I can drop that
Yeah,
class. That
right.
didn't exist. Your curriculum was essentially set for you. What's your major? What do you want to do? If you failed the class, you got kicked out. Like it was no joke, right? I mean, it's full ride by the government, and obviously you have service afterwards. But it's one of those things where like you can't afford to fail. You're busting your ass off, and you have the whole regimen, everything going on. You also have to do your schoolwork. There's like we didn't have summer breaks or anything like that. Like it was year round. I mean, it was grueling, and it was yeah. And the
Preparation for life,
teachers.
buddy. Preparation for life, right?
Oh, it was.
All right, we better.
I went from high school straight A's, barely ever had to study. I had like 12, 13 AP classes. I could have gone to University of Florida and start off as a sophomore. But
Yeah.
instead, I went to the military academy where no AP classes transferred over. And all of a sudden, oh my God, I have to study to keep up with them, with these
Yeah.
kids,
Oh yeah.
because
Oh
these
yeah.
are the best in the country.
Sure.
And I'm
Sure.
sitting
Sure.
there just shell shocked because, again, the grading wasn't just did you get an A or not. It's weighted based on how everybody does.
Oh
So if
sure.
somebody really outperforms and you didn't quite outperform, oh, you're in trouble. And there's no such thing. Yeah, it's grueling. But Tesla's up 25 cents because I know that's where we're going to right now.
There you go. That's right. So we got the Dow finished at 83.57 in the green. We got and that wasn't always clear. The Nasdaq finished up 100. S&P finished up 14, and Tesla finished up 427 during the regular hours. You just gave the after hours. Magnificent Seven was mostly up at the end. Microsoft and Meta were down, but the rest were in good shape by the end of the day. And the Cathie Woods were 100%, except for Square, barely down. Cathie Woods were all up today. So it's a pretty green day when all was said and done. I think when the consumer confidence numbers came out, it slammed the market for about an hour, but they got over it and things popped back up.
NVIDIA saved the market today.
Was it in well, but so we had the consumer confidence blew it off, and then when Jensen Huang said that he was not going to sell any more stock, then that saved it. Okay,
The whole market.
the
Yep.
whole market. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right.
Look at it. It happened literally to the minute.
To the minute. Wow. That's same thing with the consumer confidence. It was like, yeah. Okay. 10-year down 6 basis points in the pre-market, and it's at 3.73. I made a statement today that it will not close over 3.75. And I didn't mean just today. It will not close over 3.75 going forward. So that's another thing I can be graded on. Okay. And you've got the 2-month, which is up a little bit actually in the pre-market, but it was down today, and the 2-year is unchanged right now, but it was also down today. So both of those are moving, either going closer and closer to flipping, or the 2-year, which is already flipped, is getting further and further away from the 10-year. So all of those would be indicating recession. Okay, that's the rule. I'm not saying that I believe it or not. Yes, of course I believe it. All right. Oil. So finally, the oil market today started to respond a little bit to all the nonsense between China and what's going on with the Middle East and hurricanes in the Gulf.
Yeah.
But it didn't.
I think that's what it is.
But it wasn't a big deal. It's Texas Intermediate still sitting at 71.57. So I don't know. Are we in a new era in terms of the oil market?
I don't know. I think it's I think oil prices go lower moving forward.
Yeah, me too. It's what a lot of people think they're going lower. I don't think they can't really drop much below 60. That's, there's a point at which it's not profitable. You just stop making it. You just stop producing it.
Yeah. So for offshore drilling, you're
That's right.
looking at
something
like
about that.
a little bit. Yeah. You're looking at about, you could probably get away with about $47, probably.
Okay. All right.
I'm extrapolating a little. It's been about
Yeah.
7 years since I was out there. Back then when I was there, it was like 55 was like, all right, okay, like anything lower and we're in trouble. But like in the Permian fracking, I think they got to like a break even of like low 40s to high 30s.
Mm.
So, they're competitive. Um, I don't know how much has changed since, we really had the big drawdown oil where we went, I think we got down like $10 a barrel or something like that.
Right.
It was
20,
insane. The price
20,
wars were
20, I think.
insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, my point is technology's gotten better.
Right.
Companies have gotten very lean. Yeah, I could see it
All right.
going lower.
Okay. Natural gas continues upward, although it was down earlier today, but now it's going back up again. $2.57.8. That's really amazing. And gold up another 510, 2,682, another all-time high. Oh, I forgot to look this up today. Silver is at 32.45, up another 0.08%. That is also a significant high. I think there was the hunt thing years and years ago where it spiked up really, really high. I was going to look that up and see how high did it go. But it was they tried to corner the market. And silver had a temporary problem until they went bankrupt because it didn't work. Well, their silver effort went bankrupt.
Oh my goodness.
It's
Can
an
I
old,
can I give you a little
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of breaking news that just came out?
Oh, wow.
This is not really a big deal. I'm really excited for this and I want to share my excitement with you.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan just got done doing a episode with Chamath.
With Chamath, man,
That's going to be good.
that's going to be a good one.
Sorry,
Agree on
I
that.
just
All right. And copper, which continues to move up and up and up, is at 452, almost 453, up another 0.85 in the pre-market. So this is another thing I did a little study on this today. I got to do a lot more. Maybe you'll be interested too, is what happens to commodities in this market that we're talking about now, because they've been beaten down like crazy. Are some of the miners starting to cut back on production because they're not profitable enough? Is that what they're, at some point, does this commodity thing turn around and do commodities start to march up? Right now, you're seeing it in copper, silver, because silver is not a precious, I mean, it is a precious metal, but it's more than a precious metal. It is a manufacturing product.
Randy, here's a thought for you.
Sure.
The boom that we had, call it 2018 to 2019, 2019 to into 2020 with Tesla, I think we're going to see a bigger one moving forward because back then there was a lot of production supply constraints.
Right.
There weren't as many batteries being built. Then you get from 2020 to 2024, all of a sudden everybody's trying to buy everything up. We saw supply chains get all screwed up, inflation. Now, all the competitors have pulled back. All the suppliers have ramped up. Costs are coming down. And here comes Tesla, ready to go from a point of strength. No competitors around. Supply chains being built up. Prices drop because they have no one to sell everything to. I have a feeling that Tesla is about to be in the strongest position they've ever been in, with the best supply chain they've ever had at the lowest cost they've ever had.
That's interesting. I think once again, on a Tuesday night have said something that I haven't heard anywhere else, and maybe you're the first to really talk about that. So we'll continue to explore that over the next couple of weeks. We've got the dollar and the yen and the euro. They're really not doing much in the pre-market here. It's kind of going nowhere. Bitcoin up another 867. They are finally back into the range, back into the old range. So 64,231. I look at that range being 64 to 74, which it was doing back and forth for a long time there. It's back in that spot.
I stick with what I said last week, that you said that you also hadn't heard anyone say this. I kind of think crypto Bitcoin has kind of lost its
Yeah. Mojo.
appeal.
Mojo.
Yeah, I think it'll still be around. I just don't think it's going to be the thing that people are as excited about anymore.
Well, when you got, an old guy, running for president along with this young person who most people don't think she can, put a good sentence together, both saying that they're pro crypto, it's kind of like, well, it must be passé then. I used to show up at church with a shirt I thought was really in style, and the stylish young kids would say, "Mr. Kirk, that was last week." So maybe crypto went out of style as soon as Trump and Harris started talking about it.
Yeah, I honestly I think AI really took the air out of all
Oh,
these
yeah, you said that
speculative
last week. Yeah, yeah,
investments.
yeah. All right. So pre-market on the future, I'm sorry, on the equities, you got the Dow down 54 or 0.13, S&P unchanged, and the NASDAQ up 12.25. So it tells us absolutely nothing about tomorrow.
Hey, I you know what? We could use a flat day.
We could use a breather.
We could use a few days of breather. Yeah,
It's been too
yeah.
exciting. Yeah.
Well,
Keeping you up,
selfishly,
keeping
we
you up
spoke
at
in the
night.
green room why I would like to have a breather, but also just I want the stock to keep going up.
Yeah.
And we've seen this play out way too many times where we get a lot of FOMO, we get too parabolic, and then we come crashing down.
Right. 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 Yeah.
It would be nice to just move, you know, like I don't know, like at Costco. Look at Costco stock. Beautiful. Just up to the right. Like steady as she goes.
Yeah.
I
I
would I would
think
love that.
everybody in the listening audience would be thrilled with 265 by 1010 and 300 by Halloween. I think and 700 by the end of next year. I don't I don't think anybody complain.
You know what?
No matter how
We
many.
don't even need to do another episode. If that could just happen, be fine with it. I'll see you next December
That's
at 700. You bring the eggnog, I'll bring the rum or bourbon, whatever you want.
All right. So I just want to point out to people that if they didn't watch Brian White and I earlier today, they want to go take a look at that. There is the card. We talked about the other 5 questions that I would ask Elon Musk if I had him in front of me. That was my list. And I think it was phenomenal. Well, Brian's responses were phenomenal. Who knows how good my questions were. Anyway, that's the card. And other than that, last parting shot, you've had a few.
Yeah, let's make it good. Um, be smart, don't be greedy, and go enjoy your families.
There you go. And with all of that said, it has been great talking to you.